Okay guys, today we're going to continue the preview for DreamHack Cluj-Napoca Major, and this time we're going to look at the teams that are ranked 5 to 8 at HLTV. So this is the NIP, Navi, CloudNine, and Team Dignitas. So we'll start with NIP, or Ninjas in Pyjamas. They're ranked 5th. And look at their maps. One thing to notice here is they don't play Overpass. They've played it very few amount of times, and their main maps are Inferno and Dust 2, with Train as their third map. Interestingly enough, Mirage and Cache aren't actually played that much, even though most teams have a variety of map. Really, NIP rely on Inferno and Dust 2. Let's have a look on LAN. So on LAN, it's even more shown that Inferno and Dust 2 are their maps. Now, Mirage and Train are about equally played now, so they're their second two maps. Overpass isn't played at all, so they veto that every time. They do not like playing Overpass. Cache and Cobblestone aren't really that much played either, so if you're versing NIP and you're going up and you don't know what maps they're going to be trying to aim for, they're going to be trying to aim for Dust 2, Inferno, and then maybe Mirage or Train as the third. Let's have a look at their results. So, Overpass, they played it once. They've won. So, interesting that they keep banning it, even though it's their best win rate map, but they're not actually that good on it. They've only played it once, so not a good sample size. Dust 2 and Inferno, they're two strong maps, and they're the two maps that they do the best on. 75% win rate, 65% win rate, and they have beaten really good teams on these maps. Yesterday they beat Envious on Dust 2. So Cobblestone, and another map they like to veto a lot. They're, poor map. And then Cache, they actually do pretty well on, even that they don't seem to play it. So 60% win rate, so that's pretty good. Mirage and Train, they're two, third, fourth maps. They're actually pretty poor on. No wins on Mirage. And only 30% win rate on Train. So this is pretty poor results on some maps and really good results on some other maps. So if you do the map veto right against NIP, you should have a good time. So let's have a look on LAN. So they haven't played Overpass on LAN, so there's no results for that. Dust 2, they have 100% win rate on LAN. Ouch. Inferno, 60%. The rest of the maps they haven't won on LAN at all. So, they've had okay results on Train and Mirage, even though they haven't won them. So, around 40% win rate of rounds. Cobblestone has been terrible. Less than 10%. Cache, 20% CT side. They haven't won a single T side on that map. So, looking at this, on LAN, you want to leave Overpass in, because they're not going to pick it. They're going to ban it, so you don't need to bother banning that. Try and play them on Cobblestone and Cache and then Mirage. Or Train, depending on whether you're better on Mirage or Train. So let's have a look at their bias here. So, overall, Cobblestone and Cache and Train, and Mirage, they have a negative bias on both sides, so they're poor on both sides. Particularly Mirage T side and Cobblestone CT side, they're really poor on. Minus 20%. Overpass, even though they don't play it, they have a strong T side. They're one game. And a poor CT side. That's not much sample size to really consider. So they're two staple maps. So Inferno, they're actually better on both sides than average. So that's probably not the map you want to aim for. And Dust 2, they have a really strong CT side, even though they're a really strong T side, even though their CT side is actually quite poor. Their T side is really what takes them through. So if you can shut down their T side, you should actually be pretty good against them on Dust 2. Let's have a look on LAN. So again, Overpass, no stats for it. Cobblestone and Cache, terrible on LAN. Again, they haven't won a map on them. Greater than minus 40% CT side Cobblestone and greater than minus 40% T side Cache. So they're the maps you want to aim for when you're playing an IP. And you should win on them if you're any good on those two maps. Mirage as well, poor on both sides. So, minus 25% T side Mirage, you should be able to shut them down. And then even if you get to the T side, you haven't won enough rounds, they're still below average, so you should be able to do pretty well there. And then the three maps that they are good on one side, they're actually worse on the other side. So their staple maps, Dust 2 and Inferno. Again, good T side on Dust 2, poor CT side. On Inferno, good CT side, poor T side. So you've got to shut them down on their better side, and you should have an easy time getting them on the other side. Train, an okay CT side, pretty poor T-side, so you should easily shut them down on the T-side, and then your T-side rounds against them might be a bit of a struggle, but if you shut them down enough on T-side, you should be able to take it over the line. So now we're going to look at Navi. They're ranked 6th, so their map's played. So they have a Inferno, Mirage, Overpass kind of staple map pool, and quite a few maps played on Train and Dust 2. Cache is their map they don't seem to want to play very often. Cobblestone is up there as well, with not really playing, but still played a fair bit. So let's have a look on LAN. On LAN, Cache and Train aren't played, and Mirage is their big map, and even Overpass, Inferno, and Cobblestone are all quite big, and Dust 2 they even play a fair bit, so they've got 5 maps they play a lot, and 2 maps they don't really want to play, which is Cache and Train. So expect those to get vetoed. Alright, now let's look at their win rate. So one thing to notice is that even though they play Inferno a lot, they're actually quite poor on it. Less than 20% win rate on Inferno. Same with Cache, 25%. They don't play Cache, so they've got a 25% win rate. That's kind of expected. That's the map they're going to be vetoing. Cobblestone is a strong map for them. Interestingly enough, they don't play that online very much. They play that particularly on LAN. And it's a 75% win rate, so that's pretty good. Overpass is pretty good. And then all the others are around 50 to 60 win rate, Dust 2, Mirage, and Train. So if you're playing Navi overall, you want to play them on Cache and Inferno. They're probably going to veto Cache. And depending, they might veto Train or another map. So pick Inferno against them. That's the map they seem to leave in the map pool, and the map they want to play, and they're not good on it. It's their worst map. So let's have a look on LAN. So on LAN, they haven't won a game on Cache. Well, they don't really play it. Train, they don't really play it. Inferno, they play. They haven't won a game on LAN on it. So that's the map you're going to pick. That's pretty much a free win. The rest of the 4 maps in the map pool, so you know what maps you're going to play. The rest of the 4 maps, they actually have decent win rates, so it could be a struggle on the other maps. So Cobblestone and Dust 2, 70% win rate, that's pretty good. And the others are between 50 and 60. So you can get the free win on Inferno, and then you might struggle on some of the other maps. So best of 3 could go 2-1, depending on how good you are on the other 4 maps. But you know they're going to veto Cache and Train. So you can kind of predict what maps you're going to play, or what maps you want to play. Let's have a look at their biases. So overall, their poor map, Inferno, they're bad on both sides. Overpass are actually good on both sides, so maybe Overpass is not one you want to play against Navi. Pretty good on that map. So Mirage, Dust 2, Cobblestone, and Cache and Train. They're good on one side, poor on the other. All but Cobblestone, so Mirage, Dust 2, Cache and Train. They're good on their CT side, and they're poor on their T side, so they struggle getting T side rounds. Now this could be due to their way of playing, which is a really slow style. Might not actually be very good, or might be figured out T side. So that could be why they're poor on their T side. Particularly Cache, they're really poor T side. Cobblestone is the opposite, they're really strong T side, and they're relatively poor CT side, so that could also be due to the map bias there, that Cobblestone is a T-sided map. And they're just really good at getting that. On LAN, some things to notice here, Cache and Train, minus 40% or greater on their T side, which is really poor. Inferno, both sides are poor. Train, that both sides are poor. Dust 2, both sides are good, or above average. Cobblestone, it's about the same as it was on LAN. Overpass, CT side's good, T side poor. So one thing to notice here is every map apart from Cobblestone, they have poor T sides. And Dust 2, I guess, as well. And they're actually pretty strong CT sides on most maps, like Mirage, Dust 2, Overpass, and Cache. But it's just their T sides. So you're gonna, if you want to play Navi, have good T sides against them, and then the CT side should be a bruise on most maps. But veto Dust 2, veto Overpass, and veto Cobblestone. If you can, play them on Inferno. They love playing that, and they're not good on it. So let's have a look at CloudNine. So CloudNine here, a bit of a variance. Dust 2 is their favourite map. Cache is their favourite map as well. And then Mirage, they don't seem to play that much. And the other 4 are all about equally played, with probably Inferno being the most out of those. On LAN, Mirage disappears. Dust 2 and Cache take up, 80% of their maps overall. Inferno, they play a lot. Train, they don't really want to play on LAN much. Overpass and Cobblestone, they're about there as well. So if you're playing CloudNine, expect them to try to pick Dust 2, try to pick Cache, maybe go Cobblestone. They're probably not going to pick Inferno, but they probably get picked Inferno against them a lot. So they seem to leave that in the map pool a bit more. So let's have a look at their win rate. So all of their win rates overall is above 50% or 50%, as Mirage is. Now this is against a lot of lower tier US teams, so this might not be quite how good they are against EU teams. So anyways, let's have a look. Their best map, Cache, and then, Train and Overpass are also pretty good, so maybe you want to avoid those. Their Dust 2 is actually quite strong as well, 70%. So they're their 4 maps that, they're good on. And then Cobblestone, Mirage, Inferno, 50 to 60. So they're maybe the maps you want to aim for. Let's have a look on LAN, which would be more of a... So notice how the difference here between online and online here. Their Inferno is actually their second best map on LAN, which is interesting, with Cache being their best map. So looking at this, their maps they're going to play are going to be... maps they should be playing is Cache, Inferno, and then Dust 2 will be the 3 maps they're going to aim for. They veto Mirage, they don't play it, and they're not good on LAN on Train, which is interesting. So I expect them to be vetoing Mirage, vetoing Train. So you probably want to play them on Overpass and Cobblestone. They're around 50% win rate on LAN. And try to avoid them on Dust 2 and Cache. And Inferno as well. If you're not a good Inferno team, don't play them on Inferno. Let's have a look at their biases. So Overpass and Cobblestone and Train overall, they're good on both sides. And really good CT side on Train. Now, Dust 2 and Cache, really good T sides, not so good CT sides. So one thing to note with CloudNine on Cache is you will see them not get that many CT rounds, and then they'll just blow the team out of the water on T rounds. Dust 2, it'd be the same way. So even if you get a lot of T rounds against them, don't expect to win because they have really good T sides on those maps. Mirage and Inferno, it's the opposite. Their CT sides are strong, their T sides are a bit lackluster. Now let's have a look on LAN. So on LAN, Mirage, not played. Train, terrible T side, which is what drags them down. Their CT side is average on Train, so maybe that's one you want to pick. Overpass, they're worse on both sides. Inferno, they're good CT side, and they're about average, a little bit below average on T side. Dust 2, they're bad on CT, they're good on T. Cobblestone, a little bit bad on CT, really good on T. Same with Cache. So even if you get quite a few T rounds against them, they're going to be really strong on T side. So just be careful you want to play those 2 maps against them. So the maps you want to pick against Cloud9, Overpass, Train, Mirage. Those are the 3 maps you're going to be aiming for. Avoid Dust 2, Cobble, and Inferno if you're not a good Inferno team. Now let's have a look at Dignitas, who have been ranked 8 ahead of G2. So their maps. They love playing Mirage. The rest of the maps are pretty even. So Inferno is probably the greatest out of those, and then maybe Overpass. But Mirage is the map that they aim for, and the rest, it doesn't seem to have much of a bias. On LAN, Mirage, and now it's Dust 2 and Cache. So they're the 3 maps they're going to be aiming for on LAN, with Overpass and Train not really wanting to be played, and Cobblestone and Inferno being played a fair bit still. So expect them to be either vetoing Overpass or Train, or you having to veto those 2 against them, based on their win rate. And expect them to aim for Mirage and Dust 2 and Cache. Let's have a look at their win percentage. So overall, it's actually pretty okay, every map being above 50%, no map really lacking. Their best map, Train and Inferno and Cobblestone, are all above 60%, with Mirage as well. And the rest between 50 and 60, Dust 2, Cache, and Overpass. So the maps that they like to play, or the maps that they're good at, so Train and Inferno, their 2 best maps, Cobblestone coming in at 3rd, and their worst 3 maps are probably Cache, Dust 2, and then Overpass. Let's have a look on LAN, because they do play a lot of lower tier European teams. Let's have a look on LAN against the better teams. So Train and Cobblestone, 100% win rate on LAN. So they're their maps that they're really strong on, and people like to veto against them, I'm assuming. Inferno, they're also really strong on that. So the maps they're not good on is Cache and Overpass. Now they do play Cache a lot, so maybe that's the map you can get in there, And Mirage as well is not very good. So those are the two maps you can probably get in there against them. You can win against them. And even their Dust 2 is not good. So you've got, 4 maps you can go against them. And you've got 3 maps that they're actually good on. So veto 2 of them away in a best of 3, you should be alright. With a 2-1. In a best of 1, you can veto 3 or you veto 2, and then maybe you might get Inferno. So if you're a good Inferno team, maybe you might win on that. If you're not a good Inferno team, you might actually struggle because you might have to veto Inferno, then you might play them on Cobblestone or Train, depending on how the random map selection goes. If you're vetoing 3 maps, and then you should have an easy time on Cache, Mirage, Dust 2, or Overpass, whichever one is left in the map pool, whichever one you're best on. Let's have a look at the side biases here. So, Inferno, better on both sides. Overpass, online they're better on both sides. On land they're actually pretty poor, which is interesting. Cobblestone, they're better T-side, average CT side. And then it's a mixed bag between the rest. Mirage is really good CT side, poor T side. Dust 2 is the opposite, really poor CT side and really good T side. So that's an interesting thing there. Cache, good CT side, poor T side. Train is about the same. Interestingly enough with Train is their T side is actually about average. So they get about 6-7 rounds T side, which seems to be quite a lot for Train, but that's just about average. But their CT side is what carries them through. Let's have a look on LAN. So on LAN, their Train, their T side is actually a lot better on LAN than their CT side. So that just goes from being average to being really good. Cobblestone, they're better on both sides. So those two are what gets them the 100% win rates on those maps. Inferno, their T side is actually what brings them through, unlike most teams, where their CT side on Inferno is what brings them through and wins. So the maps that they're poor on, so Mirage, they're actually, worse on both sides. And then it's a mixed bag between Dust 2, Overpass, and Cache. Dust 2 and Overpass, really poor CT sides, which is what you can win against them. This T side and Overpass is actually decent, even though they do really badly on that map. And Dust 2, their T sides are actually quite good. 40% win rate on LAN. So their T side is what brings them through. They've got to get those good T sides to actually have a chance at winning. Cache, they've got to get good CT sides to actually have a chance at winning. And their T side is really struggling. They struggle to get a couple of rounds. So anyways guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.